The anime sets up far across in the jungle, where a young adventurer Dale is surrounded by a horde of demonic creatures. Expressing his unwavering agility, one after the other Dale slices through the creatures. Dale senses movement in the bushes nearby and turns towards the bushes. This is when he comes across Latina for the first time, a young girl from the devil race, lost in the jungle. While Dale points his sword toward the young devil, Latina's gaze is stuck on Dale's fish. Dale asserts that the poor little girl must be hungry and offers her the food. His surprise, the young girl trusts him and strides forward to eat the fish. Looking at her appearance, Dale realizes that the young girl's one horn is broken, an evident revelation that Latina might have committed a sin and her race banished her. The hungry Latina boasts about the fish and then takes Dale to the corpses lying in the woods. It is possibly the corpse of a male devil who died here in the jungle and left the young Latina all on her own. Despite not understanding Latina's language, Dale assists her in digging a grave for her late father. As a young Latina, she's unable to do much but expresses her gratitude to Dale for his kind gesture. With her father's passing, Latina is now alone in the jungle, which poses significant dangers. Recognizing the risks, Dale decides to bring her with him to his home in the city of Cruz. The prospect of going with Dale fills Latina's eyes with a glimmer of hope, and she clings to him, seeking solace and protection. The city of Cruz is divided into two districts. In the northern district, the nobles reside, while the other side of the city is dedicated to the commoners. Dale lives on the southern side of the second largest city of the Labang Empire. They are stopped at the entrance and the guard conveys her reservations about Latina's race. However, Dale ensures to keep Latina under his supervision and heads inside to pay the toll in the bustling city. Rita, a vibrant and energetic waitress, attends to her guests, ensuring they are served with delectable food. Her name is on the lips of every attendee, impressed by her exceptional service. Behind the scenes, Kenneth, a skilled chef, meticulously prepares the meals for the customers. When Dale appears in the kitchen with Latina, Kenneth is not much satisfied with bringing a girl like Latina to the city. Putting his reservations aside, Dale takes Latina to his residence, and Dale shares this place with Kenneth and Rita. Dale prepares a shower for Latina, understanding the necessity of cleansing her body, which is covered in mud and dirt. Despite Latina's initial reluctance, he insists on rinsing her, knowing that a bath is essential for her appearance. In an unexpected turn of events, Rita enters the bathroom and trembles upon discovering Dale with a child, perplexed by the situation. Dale narrates the story of finding Latina, but Rita is mainly concerned about his decision from this point onwards. Later in the cafe, everyone is intrigued by Latina's appearance. Meanwhile, Rita combs through the message board, but there are no bounties on Latina or her father's head. She is surprisingly not on the adverse list record. Rita prepares a table for their young guests and brings her delicious food. Rita thinks orphanage will not be the right choice for Rita, as she is completely alien to this place. Meanwhile, after a strenuous day, Latina falls asleep the moment her head falls on the pillow. The next morning, when Dale leaves the bed, Latina clings to him in desperation. The fear of losing her only support is eminent in her eyes. Kenneth prepares breakfast for Latina, which shockingly entails a sweet dish for Latina. Kenneth does not normally prepare sweets in the morning, but he went against his routine in love with the kid. After breakfast, Rita takes it upon herself to discreetly transform Latina's appearance, ensuring her identity remains concealed. Meanwhile, Dale takes Latina out for a shopping spree, moving from one shop to another, purchasing everything she desires, resulting in a multitude of items. Upon their return, Rita is astounded by this drastic change in Dale's behavior. Her encouragement and growing affection for young Latina eventually persuade Dale to defy all odds and make the decision to adopt her. The next morning, Rita probes the reason behind his long face. Dale says that the client from his magic beast hunt job has requested a report on the hunt. Normally, Dale brings body parts on the remaining as approved, but he failed to bring anything because he had Latina as his priority. However, now Dale must take the client to the place where he hunted the magic beasts. He is anxious about Latina behind him. Rita assures him to take good care of Latina in his absence and persuades Dale to go on the adventure. Despite the likelihood of Dale returning by nightfall, he exaggerates his emotions, indulging in theatrics, due to his deep affection for the young Latina. As Dale heads for the job, Latina keeps herself busy helping Kenneth and Rita in the pub. Latina carefully carries the plates back, cleans the tables, and participates in filling the tables. Unexpectedly, Kenneth appreciates her efforts and encourages Latina to take part in the cafe affairs freely. Her diligent efforts earn Latina a dessert as a reward. Kenneth expresses that he never realized how enjoyable it could be to have a child and suggests that they should consider having kids of their own. Rita agrees wholeheartedly, acknowledging that raising children is undoubtedly a joyful and fulfilling experience. Later in the evening, Dale returns to the pub. Latina hurries onto Dale and hugs him on his return, expressing her affection for Dale. Contrastingly, Dale is taken aback and astounded when he hears Latina quickly learning their language. His surprise is so great that he figuratively flips on his head in disbelief at her impressive progress. When Dale inquires Rita about the day, Rita expresses her pleasure in Latina's quick learning abilities. She maintains that Latina observed them with attention and later adapted to their jobs very quickly. She is amazingly talented and her learning abilities are unlike any ordinary child. In a mere 1 week, Latina adapts to the pub custom and work routines. She participates in the activities diligently, and her closeness with Kenneth even jealousies Dale too. When Latina hears about Kenneth leaving for the Southern District, requests Dale to be with Kenneth, and Dale hesitantly allows her. Dale strictly advises Latina to be with Kenneth all the time as she affirms his advice. Though what happens in the Southern District is the opposite, caught up in the distractions of the bustling city, Latina becomes separated from Kenneth without him even noticing. It is only when she is already lost amidst the urban maze that Kenneth realizes she is no longer by his side. Unable to trace her anywhere, Kenneth returns to the pub and informs Dale about the emergency. Rita calls for help from pub attendees and even announces a fervent reward for finding Latina. On the other hand, Latina finds herself stranded and confronted by a group of boys who intimidate and scare her. Chloe rushes to her rescue and beats up the boys for picking up on a young girl. However, the boys apologize for their rude behavior, and they soon become friends. When Latina heals their wounds with her magic, the kids decide to help Latina and take her back safely to the southern part. On their way to the pub, the kids come across Eldested, who carries them all to the pub. The kids get candies as a reward for helping their friend. Eldested takes them back safely to the Northern District. He opens with a slam when Dale enters the pub and finds Latina standing before him with tears plundering her eyes in embarrassment. Latina expresses her sincere apologies for her recklessness, realizing the consequences of her actions. In response, Dale embraces her tightly, showing his affection and concern. The presence of Latina has inculcated a reluctance to work in Dale. He has been called on an assignment in the capital, but he intends to skip the job and stay with Latina. Rita believes Dale should focus on the work too. If he decides to head to the capital, Dale can bring her new gifts from the capital. The confused Dale half-heartedly accepts Rita's suggestion and undertakes the journey to the capital. The next morning, Latina wishes Dale luck on his new adventure. Before departing, Dale reveals that his adventure will be longer than usual and Latina must act brave in his absence. During his journey to the capital, Dale is transported by a dragon rider who appears to be frightened throughout the entire trip because of Dale's well-known fear. However, unbeknownst to the rider, Dale's mind is entirely consumed by thoughts of Latina, causing him to be lost in his world. In the capital, Lord Gregor welcomes him to his mansion. When Dale repeatedly inquires about his fiancée, the agonized Lord Gregor responds that they are not engaged and Dale must not talk about the lady. Dale's revelation of raising a devil girl flips Gregor on his head. He knows Dale for his bold decision, but this one is far more shocking than usual. Dale expresses his attachment to the young girl and explains how hard it was to leave her behind. However, Lord Gregor explains the reason for calling Dale here. They have reportedly tracked down the demon servants of the 7th Demon Lord, and the lower demons present themselves in service of demon lords to earn the power beyond comprehension. Their mission is to target the servants. Lord Gregor will be coming alongside in this mission. Unlike the other nobles, Lord Gregor is very down to earth. Instead of hiding behind soldiers like other nobles, Lord Gregor prefers to present himself in the first life of defense. Later, Duke Estrades briefs the team about their assigned mission. They will have to neutralize and ambush the servants of the Demon Lord. In their entire journey to the site, Dale is constantly troubled by Latina's thoughts. Lord Gregor is equally shocked by his transformation. On the flip side, Latina's continuous efforts have earned her expertise in certain dishes. The customers at the pub often request Latina to serve their food just to see her cute smile. Yet Latina fails to overcome this sadness due to Dale's absence. This is the first time when Latina speaks about her past. Latina's family abandoned her, fearing that she brought a bad reputation to their name. Eventually, Rock, a male devil, took her and accepted her and fought for her. However, after Rock's untimely death, Latina found herself questioning if she truly brought misfortune to those around her. With all of her support gone, she crosses paths with Dale, who accepts her unconditionally without questioning her past, offering her the acceptance and love she desperately needed. Visits Latina as her dear friend, Chloe invites Latina to join the school, which begins every fall, and make friends of her age. Rita assures to discuss the plausibility with Dale and send her to the school alongside Chloe soon. In the depths of the jungle, Dale warns that the ground in this particular part of the forest is heated, which attracts dragons to the area. Suddenly, they stumble upon a horde of dragons encircling ominous-looking individuals at a fair distance. As they observe the scene, they soon come to the chilling realization that the dragons are under the command of the Demon Lord's servants, who stand menacingly close to the fearsome creatures. Dale unsheathes his ferocious tally of spells and trembles the ground beneath their feet. One after the other, Dale and his team attack and neutralize the demon servants. In the end, Dale comes across a girl who seems their leader. The girl attacks Dale, but masterfully nullifies her attack and captures her, and their mission concludes here. Dale does not bother the official banquet hosted by the Duke and immediately heads back to Latina, who impatiently awaits Dale. Rita reveals that Latina prefers to sleep alone in Dale's room rather than with her because she claims to smell Dale's comforting scent from the bed. The next day, Latina serves a man and curiously inquires about the wound on his hand. She offers her help and heals his wound with her magic spell. Dale, witnessing the entire event, cannot comprehend how a young girl like Latina can use magic. Dale explains to Latina that using magic is not as simple for humans as it is for devils. Humans use some phrases from the devil language to cast a spell. Dale is amongst the only few who have a working command of the devil language. Latina impulsively questions why devils usually do not cooperate with humans and why both races are often hostile to each other. However, Dale does not have answers to any of her questions. Leaving Latina behind, whether it's for work or any other activity, is always challenging for Dale. However, this time it's Latina who is heading off for her first day at school. Although Dale finds it difficult, he knows it's an essential step for her growth and education. Chloe eagerly awaits Latina, ready to accompany her to school together. Both enter the classroom where Marcel, Rudy, and Anathony are already sulking for the next 2 years in the school. Meanwhile, a new student, Sylvia, hails from the Western District. In their first class, a stern-looking teacher coldly delivers the briefing stating that the purpose of the classes is to mold the students into better individuals. However, this statement leaves Latina pondering about the treatment and consideration for other races, causing a question to wobble in her mind. On her return to Tom, Kenneth and Rita inquire about Latina's first day at school. She explains her experience excitedly. Latina has learned several new things in her first outing. The following day at school turns into a whirlwind of insults and humiliation for Latina. The teacher discovers Latina's devil heritage and erupts in anger, pulling on her horn and subjecting her to public humiliation, all because of her race. The entire class witnesses this hurtful display, leaving Latina feeling deeply hurt and distressed. However, the students oppose their teacher's judgment and record their protest for their friend's insult. Latina returns home, gutted, heart-wrenched, and empty-eyed. She hurries to her room and uses the magic she learned from Dale and plucks out her horn. Kenneth hurries into her room following her painful shout and finds Latina unconsciously lying on the floor with blood all over. Kenneth closes the pub for the day and immediately carries Latina to the hospital. His quick response saves Latina's life. Dale thanks Kenneth for his help as Kenneth walks out of the room, leaving them alone. Tears begin dripping off her face as soon as Dale strides closer to Latina. Dale expresses that he wouldn't want Latina to be anything other than a devil. If she wasn't a devil, they might have never met in the first place. Latina shares her fears, expressing her concerns about outliving the people she loves because devils have twice the life of a human. In response, Dale reassures her, asking her to have faith in him and cherish the time they have together. Dale does not want to let go of the event. Dale visits the school to see the head priestess. Dale conveys his concerns about the growing intolerance at the school and warns to take the matter before the Temple of Amers if the head does not take a corrective action against the teacher and remove her. The head priestess frets by Dale's warning and immediately removes the teacher. Dale asserts that he is equally responsible for the inconvenience. If he had not behaved recklessly and spinelessly, things could have been different. A few days later, Dale offers a free round of drinks to everyone in the pub in celebration of Latina's recovery. Winters are hitting their peak in Kreutz. The day begins with Dale's long brief on how to take care of yourself. Latina reaches the school with her friends, where they discuss Marisil's father's forthcoming birthday and the presents for the birthday. On her return from the school, Latina requests Kenneth's help in an implicit matter and Kenneth ensures his complete cooperation. They are all amazed by Latina's exceptional skills in handling customers. Dale proudly asserts that Latina has a remarkable ability to quickly pick up new tasks. All one needs to do is guide her, and she will master the job with ease. Latina requests Dale's permission to go to Chloe's home after school. He hesitantly allows her. In the evening, Dale excitedly returns home earlier than usual to see Latina, but he does not find her around as she has gone to see Chloe, her friend. Chloe's mother appreciates Latina for her fast learning. She goes on to thank Latina for motivating her daughter Chloe to work harder. Glancing at her working so hard, Dale anxiously inquires if Kenneth using her for his benefit. As Kenneth explains that he is paying Latina for her work instead of her doing it as a favor, the revelation lands on Dale like a bombshell, surprising him greatly. In the background, two ominous men constantly keep a watchful eye on Latina, having identified her as a devil. Unbeknownst to her, they are members of a dangerous human trafficking group with sinister intentions. They see Latina as a valuable commodity and are determined to capture her for a substantial sum of money. Dale is caught up in Kenneth's revelation. He ponders what made Latina work for money when he is already buying her everything. Latina walks into the room and pulls out the gift she prepared for Dale with her own money. Dale is overwhelmed with the gift. He immediately hurries down to the pub to reveal the gift he received from Latina. Happiness is eminent on his face. It turns out that earning money to prepare the gift was the favor Latina had asked Kenneth earlier. Kenneth was hesitant to offer him a full-time job, considering her school, but Latina insists to work for him. Latina looks up to Kenneth as her ideal chef and aspires to cook as well as Kenneth does. Dale flaunts the bag Latina prepared for him. The next day brings the much-awaited event for Latina, the snowfall. Latina is overwhelmed to see the snowfall for the first time. On the flip side, Dale's departure is always a fun sight now. He leaves the pub to slaughter the deadly monsters with his mastery. Shigesu forgets his purse when he leaves the purse, and Latina rushes after him but finds herself cornered by the two criminals. They run after Latina to catch her, but luckily Shigesu comes in for her rescue. On top of that, Shigesu's friend Lieutenant passes by and captures the two criminals on Shigesu's request. Dale, on the other hand, slices the monstrous wolf one after the other and completes his job. Rita points out that Dale has gained some height, but the jackets exclusively brought from the hometown do not fit Dale anymore. Dale feels something off about Rita and inquires about the red for her paleness. Rita quickly changes the topic and hands over a letter she received from Tithro, Dale's hometown. Upon reading the letter, Dale decides to make a trip to his hometown. Later in the day, Kenneth shares delightful news with Dale, revealing that his wife, Rita, is expecting a baby. Dale is overjoyed to hear this wonderful announcement, and he believes that even Latina will be thrilled to learn about the new addition to their family. Dale proposes that he and Latina can leave for a while, allowing the couple some space during their expectancy period, but Latina is the heartthrob of the family and both Kenneth and Rita do not want her to leave by any means. On top of that, Latina has been a full-fledged employee for the past 6 months, and Kenneth does not wish to lose a skilled employee. Kenneth goes on to disclose that Latina has been saving in her account in the Ozark Temple nearby. The news falls on Dale's head like a bombshell. Dale tells Latina about his decision to head back till summer and Latina will be coming along with him. Dale believes it's the right time since both Kenneth and Rita will need them in their final trimester. Latina surprisingly asks Kenneth for a knife and he takes her to a nearby shop run by Rudy's father. Rudy's father does not entertain them well until Latina discloses that she is his son's friend. Meanwhile, Rudy enters with his siblings. When Rudy inquires about the purpose, Latina discloses that she is heading to Dale's native village. Rudy initially panics to hear that she is leaving the city, but Latina assures him that she will be back before the summer. Rudy's father requests for 23 days to prepare a product of Latina's liking. In the school, Latina's friends are excited to hear about her trip. But this trip has challenges too. They all are sure that Latina is in safe hands with the best adventurer in the city. On the other hand, Dale strolls in the market buying things for their trip. Suddenly, Dale finds himself face to face with the last person he would want to encounter, the mage Helmine. Realizing he has no other choice, Dale reluctantly asks Helmine to assist him in selecting things for Latina. Desperately trying to keep Latina's true identity hidden, Dale attempts to be discreet, but Helmine is clever enough to sense that Dale is purchasing items for a young mage. Latina is pleased to try out the trip gears. Dale has brought her very interesting things to wear, although they have been very expensive, but Dale is never shy of shopping for Latina, caring little about their cost. To Latina's surprise, Dale starts their journey from the opposite side of their intended destination. Curious about the change in direction, she inquires about their route. Dale expresses that he intends to take Latina to her father Rock's grave first. As they enter the jungle, Latina quickly senses a danger lying ahead for them. Dale is surprised by her skill and quickly eliminates the beasts. However, as they move ahead, they come across the stinky magical beasts. Latina casts a spell that forms a shield for Dale against their stink or smell. Dale quickly slices them one after another without worrying much about the stink. The next morning, they continue their journey after spending a night out in the jungle. Upon inquiring, Latina expresses that she liked their experience of sleeping out in the open. Latina quickly points at the bridge. Latina says that she knows the bridge from her childhood, and Dale realizes that Latina hails from the land of First Demon Lord, which lies on the other side of the mountains. Soon they reach the beautiful town of Haza. Dale decides to spend their night in Haza. He orders some delicious cuisine in the hotel, and Latina has been hungry for a while now. She quickly boasts of the delicious food. In the night, Dale comes across the fact that Latina is writing a travel diary and wonders if Latina wrote anything for him, but lately is adamant to keep a secret. Latina has been out on the trip for the first time, therefore she is nervous about sleeping at a new place and requests Dale to let her sleep beside him. Dale cheers her up with a new magic trick and effortlessly pulls the beds closer. Deep down in his heart, Dale understands that Latina is not the only one who will be comfortable with sleeping together. He also loves to sleep beside Latina. The following morning, they set off for the port town of Quella. Latina is captivated by the sight of a town established right on the seashore, where the chilly and gusty winds of Quella greet them warmly. As they step into the city under the watchful eyes of the Ozark god, Latina expresses her wish to write letters to her friends. Fortunately, Quella boasts a well-established postal facility, making it possible for her to do so. In the bustling and crowded city of Quella, Dale worries that Latina might get lost amidst the rush, so he firmly holds her hand throughout their strolls in the streets. In the night, Latina pulls out her best dress for the restaurant. When Dale takes her to the best hotel in the city, Latina points at the lady singing in the hotel and wonders if she is also a devil because she wears a bracelet similar to the one Latina received from Rock. After their dinner, Latina writes a letter to Chloe, giving words about her experiences so far. Meanwhile, the man from the hotel knocks at the hotel and informs that the singer has agreed to see them today. The singer Gloros describes the bracelet as a custom in their homeland, and she hails from the city of Vasilios, the territory of the first demon lord. Though the devil males do not look after their kids as much as humans, they offer a bracelet as a custom. The devil males are generally pronounced by their shorter names, but the bracelet carries their complete name. The words on Latina's bracelet depict Rock's real name, Samarati, or the Green Stone. Anticipating their curiosity, Gloros briefs them about the demon world, the third demon lord, known as the Lord of Seas, lives far across the eastern lands. The sixth demon lord is a huge creature, also known as the demon lord of the giants. To Gloros' surprise, Latina is aware of the story that years back the second demon lord, also known as the demon lord of the underworld, killed the first demon lord, and now the Sea of Vasilios lives without a lord. Unlike humans, the rules are chosen by the god. This means that when the time will be right, the city of Vasilios will have its demon lord. As Joseph comes to welcome them, Latina becomes frightened, for it is her first time encountering a beast. Dale discloses that Joseph is family. Joseph's mother is a second cousin to Dale's father. Inside the house, a sweet surprise awaits Dale. It turns out that Joseph is now a father to a beautiful daughter, Maya. The cousins engage in conversation, reminiscing about Dale's granny and her amusing stories. They burst into laughter, thoroughly entertained by the humorous anecdotes and memories shared about her. Letting the cousins talk, Latina joins Ute, Joseph's wife. Latina is intrigued to see the mountain veggies. They are pretty unique to those of Cruz, therefore Latina cannot hold herself from helping Ute prepare the dinner. At the dining table, a spoon falls off Latina's hand when Joseph mentions the priestess of Beneficage. She quickly covers her emotion and puts up a fake smile, but Dale has noticed her changing mood. Later in the night, Dale inquires her about what is bothering her. Latina speaks her heart out for the first time. Back in her childhood, there was a prophecy associated with Latina, and the people called her a bad omen, although her parents tried to oppose the growing thought. However, Latina herself realized that she is a bad girl. When she found Rock dead in the woods, Latina thinks Rock died because of her. Dale thinks prophecies are a bit tricky and not everyone can comprehend them with full command. All gods are mysterious. For Dale, Latina is still a good girl. There is an evident growing affection between Latina and Maya. Maya is always swirling around Latina to play with her. On their departure, Maya cries her heart out to stop Latina from leaving. Latina herself is reluctant to leave her, but Dale assures her to bring her back to Maya on their return. On their journey to the village to Teethsro, they are chased by arrows. Dale dodges the arrows and marches towards the tunnel ahead. He uses magic to blow the stone blocking the tunnel and reaches the other side of the mountain. However, it turns out that Dale's granny had plotted this drama and his parents assisted her. Latina ponders why his family hates Dale. However, the family is intrigued by the presence of a young girl. Latina gracefully introduces herself to Dale's parents. Dale explains that Teethsro is not the village's name, but the last name of those residing in the village. On the contrary, Dale carries the surname of Roki because it refers to someone who leaves his home to fight. Dale goes on to further explain that the customs in this part of the world are different from those at Laband. Removing shoes before entering the place is one of many differences they have here. Agonized by the constant stiffness between the grandmother and Dale, Latina rebukes them both to develop patience for each other. Dale tells Latina that his family's behavior is because of his rough past. Before meeting Latina, Dale had been going through a lot, and then he met Latina, and everything changed for him. Latina trembles in shock to hear about the marriage with Frida, but to her relief, she soon realizes that it is not Dale's marriage, but rather his younger brother York's marriage. Later in the night, they are asked to sleep in separate rooms, but as the night progresses, Dale is abruptly awakened from his sleep. Instinctively, he feels that Latina is crying and rushes to her side. His doubts are justified when he finds her frightened and overwhelmed by the new place. She clings to Dale, pleading with him not to leave her alone ever. Chloe receives a letter from Latina and reads it aloud before her friends. Latina has given words to her amazing experiences. The land of Teethsro is indeed very beautiful, and she now understands why Dale loved his childhood here. Latina is enjoying her stay in a village surrounded by mountains and waterfalls. Moreover, there is no established school like Cruz. However, Latina has been seeking lessons from the local priest. Miss Cornelio has been around Teethsro for years. He was Dale's instructor too, and his daughter Clarissa has been teaching Latina how to make delicious desserts. Moreover, Dale's entire family has been very kind to her. Latina advises Rita to take care of her baby and Kenneth. Moreover, lets everyone at the pub know that she is having her best time out there. Latina expresses her desire to learn cooking from Dale's mother. In this way, she will be able to cook the best food for Dale. Granny calls Latina and leads her to where they keep their dogs. Latina observes that these dogs are much more hostile and aggressive compared to the ones she encountered in Laband. These dogs are specially trained to hunt and protect the owners against magic beasts. When York persuades Dale to assume his charge as the village head, Dale opts out of the offer. Dale thinks his fate has already been chosen, and now he has to fight in Laband to save his village from the constant threats to nobles ready to run over the village. Dale always wanted to be the village head, however, he sacrificed himself to the Duke, and in return, his village earned implicit Emperor support. A few days later, Dale anxiously inquires if Latina is enjoying her stay here. Latina, in return, affirms that she is having the best time out here. She requests Dale to always be with her and remind her whenever the prophecy comes true and Latina turns bad. Surprisingly, the dogs have developed an affection with Latina. Even the leader of the clan, who was reluctantly previously, has now established an affection too. Granny decides to take Latina to a secret place, although she requires a promise from Latina that she will not tell anyone. Latina follows her in the deep jungle and forgets to blink her eye when Granny reveals the secret. Dale's mother conveys her concerns to Dale regarding Latina's daily visit to the deep forest with Granny, and the next day, Dale decides to follow Latina and soon discovers her holding a baby wolf. Concerned for her safety, he tries to convince her to let go of the wolf. However, to his astonishment, the wolf talks back, groaning at him in response. The wolf belongs to the race of phantasmic beasts, which are known to be more intelligent than regular magic beasts and typically avoid humans. The phantasmic beasts are secretly living in this jungle under a pact with the village head. They have contracted to be peaceful with each other. The entire village family excitedly participates in Frida and Yak's marriage ceremony. Latina has also put up a traditional dress. After the marriage ceremony, Latina finds Dale standing alone outside the house. In a moment of vulnerability, he discloses to her the pact that binds him to serve the Duke. Dale reveals that he is the blessed child of the Teethrow, bestowed with extraordinary powers that enable him to challenge a demon lord. Latina is taken aback by this revelation, realizing the immense responsibility and danger Dale carries with him. Going through the drawings with Granum, Lachia recognizes the southern part of the city, the place where she lives with Rita and Kenneth. Upon hearing the news of Rita's pregnancy, Latina excitedly informs Granny. Delighted by the news, Granny decides to send a Quirmsy charm as a gift for Rita. She entrusts Latina and Dale with the task of preparing the charm together. Excited and eager to help, they set out to create the charm with care and dedication. Meanwhile, Dale's coat is ready. Unlike the previous one, the new coat fits him properly. Dale conveys his decision of returning to Latina. She appears dozed off because Latina spent 2 whole months in this beautiful place. In the forest, Latina tells Vint about her return to the city. The leader of the Soaring Wolves gives a gift to Dale. His feathers, these feathers will protect them against the magic beasts which lack intelligence. Latina goes to say goodbye to her tutor priest Corniello, and the priest calls Dale inside for tea. Surprisingly, the priest has been aware of the challenges Dale has faced in accepting Latina. The priest commends his choice and appreciates Dale for counting on young Latina. Granny calls Latina before their departure. She wants to give Latina something to always remember. As chieftain of the Teethrow village, Granny awards Latina with a name. She can now be deemed as the locale of the village, and she can come back whenever she desires. Moreover, Granny announces a feast before their departure. A while ago, Granny called Dale and disclosed the secret behind their magical coats, which prevent them from being beasts. These coats are made with soaring eagle furs. A reason behind letting Latina calm the wolves was to collect as many feathers as she could have a stock that can run for years. Meanwhile, Granny presents Latina with ribbons she had meticulously prepared, exclusively made from the finest feathers. These special ribbons are intended to protect Latina on her journey back. On their return to Quella, Latina buys souvenirs for her friends as gifts from her trip. They continue their journey and reach Joseph's place, where Maya eagerly awaits Latina. It appears Maya has missed her a lot because she's not letting go of Latina despite persuasions from her father, Dale, and Ute. Moving forward, Dale and Latina finally make their way back to their place in the city of Cruz. As they enter the pub with a loud slam, Latina surprises Rita, who is delighted to see her. However, Dale's haste inadvertently spoiled Rita's surprise for Kenneth, who was not expecting Latina's return just yet. Despite that, the joy of having Latina back outweighs any mishap, and they all celebrate their reunion together. Latina gazes around in wonder as she steps into Acefar School, finding it vastly different from Carnelio Sensi's house. Just then, Chloe enters the scene and warmly greets Latina, expressing how much she misses her. She proudly displays the necklace she wears, made from a piece of Latina's broken horn, a precious token of their friendship. Chloe tells her that Rudy made the necklace from the broken horn, her treasure ever since. Sylvia excitedly approaches Latina and bombards her with questions about her trip. Meanwhile, the scene shifts as Latina and Dale stroll by the forest. They suddenly spot a group of bandits lurking, planning to ambush a passing carriage. Dale's protective instincts kick in, and he takes them out. With swift and skilled moves, he engages the bandits in a battle, overpowering them and subduing them all, leaving the defeated bandits confined to a deep hole. The next day, Latina tells the whole story about the bandits to her friends and presents them with gifts she brought for them from her trip. Meanwhile, Dale tells Kenneth that he worries about Latina due to the dangerous nature of his job. Dale admits that he made Quirmsy charm for Rita, as Latina wanted to give it to her. While gossiping with her friends, Latina notices Rudy is also wearing her horn as a necklace. She tells them she can see differently from other people and has noticed some magic in the horns. Intrigued by tales of a bunch of kitties, Latina expresses her desire to Dale to watch them gather at the central marketplace at night. Jill-san tells Latina that she does not have to go out to watch cats as one of his neighbors, Gojo Shihesu, has many cats and will let her see them. Dale wonders that Gojo Shihesu's name looks familiar. Kenneth tells Dale that Shihesu is one of the adventurers. Dale takes Latina to Shizu's house where she plays with kittens. Shigesu tells Dale that he knew his grandfather Reinhardt, a skilled chap, good with magic and swords, and handsome but odd to choose when to lord. Shigesu tells him about the tobacco pipe he gifted to Dale's grandfather and offers to get anything foreign to Dale as Shigesu is doing a trade business after retiring from being an adventurer. Shigesu shares about the child mortality rate in his hometown where they perform various rituals for children's health. He presents a special outfit for the children of the Latina age group used during temple services and tells Dale to let Latina wear it. Dale finds Latina adorable in the outfit and buys it for her. Rita teases Dale about buying it expensively, but he insists on providing the best for Latina. Dale ponders what the future holds as Latina grows up. After this, we see Latina giving her ribbon to Rita as a good luck charm for her upcoming baby, but Rita declines, mentioning she already has the Cormizi charm from Latina. Dale tells Kenneth about the phantasmic beasts and their friendship with Latina, explaining how they provided the materials for Latina's Lucky Charm ribbons. Out of nowhere, Helmine appears in the scene and appreciates the beauty of the ribbons Latina is wearing. Dale asks Helmine why she is here, to which she responds she is here to see him as she is joining Dale for his next job in the royal capital next week. Dale receives a letter from his father about suspicious activity in neighboring territories, requiring him to escort his father and brother as they deal with the situation. Sylvia informs Latina about Helmine's fame in the capital and how she asked her father if he was looking for adventurers. Latina expresses her dislike for Helmine as she had considered Latina to be like a little kid. Rudy taunts Latina that she is still a little kid and sometimes she even behaves like a baby. Latina feels upset and wishes to grow taller, expressing her concerns to Kenneth. Meanwhile, the little phantasmic beast passes his test and gains approval to be with Latina. Helmine joins Dale at the pub and he asks her if she's found someone. She responds that people with longer lifespans find it challenging to get attached to normal people because it is difficult to get over their deaths when they pass away. In the school, Sylvia, Chloe, and Latina discuss their plans after graduating from Asfar School in 2 years. Latina says them goodbye as she remembers having to help Dale prepare to leave for the royal capital. On the way home, Latina finds Rudy and asks him about his plans after graduating, to which he shares that he will join the town guard as it is the only option available in their small town that could match being an adventurer. Rudy also apologizes to Latina for his behavior in the morning. At home, Dale informs Latina that he will be gone for a month but wants to spend time with her, so they plan to go out tomorrow. He takes her to their ancestor's grave and wishes her all the happiness in the world, vowing to take care of her for as long as he lives. The episode ends as Dale leaves for the royal capital, telling Kenneth and Rita to take care of Latina before riding off.